What is up, guys? James here from the Light of Riga YouTube channel, and in this video we're going to be doing a reading for all my Leo sun sign friends. If you were born between the dates of July 23rd and August 22nd, then you are a Leo sun sign, and this video is for you. In today's reading, we're going to be doing a spread to look at the month ahead. I know it rhymes, I do it all the time. And this spread is going to tell us about the past, present, and future energies that you have carrying around with you, what to hold on to, what to let go of. Basically going to help you prepare for the month of August so that there's less surprises and you're more in charge of the situation. It's going to be a fun spread. Remember, this is going to be a general overall reading, so not everything's going to apply to everyone in a specific way. But if you do want a reading that's tailored just for you, where I tap into your energies, head on over to my Etsy shop. And I have a wide assortment of readings that we can do over there. Today we're going to be using the Morgan-Greer Tarot. This is a 70s style deck. Well, it's from the 70s. I love it a lot, and I think you will too. So if you would please just give me a moment to center myself and ask the tarot cards a question. What can Leos expect for the month of August? What are the energies surrounding Leo sun signs in the month of August? Alright, that ought to do it. Let us cut the deck, and we will deal them out. Alright, and then we were also going to go to the Keepers of the Light Oracle deck, because I want to ask a question for Leos for August. What is your spiritual message? What spiritual message do Leos have for the month of August? And we will look at that at the end. Okay, so let's see what we have here. I'm noticing a lot of court cards. This could mean several different things. Maybe there's a lot of people coming and going in the month of August for you, or maybe you guys are having kind of split personalities. Well, we'll see what they mean as we get into it. So what we'll do is we'll look at the cards individually, then we'll go back and look at them as a whole to see what they're trying to tell us. The first card we're going to look at is this one here. This represents the past energies, the energies of July from the past month. And we have the moon. Yeah, I'm getting the feeling here that July was a time for a lot of you. Remember, this is a general overall reading. Not everything will apply. But I think a lot of you spent July asking yourselves the tough questions, doing the self-reflecting. Maybe a hint of solitude mixed in with that. And I feel as though maybe July was a time for you to figure things out a little bit and to understand yourself a little bit more. Maybe some of you went through some growing pains as you did this. Maybe some thoughts of loneliness and isolation possibly in July. But not actually alone. You know, I'm not getting the sense that you're actually alone, but that you felt alone is kind of the feeling I'm getting here. But yeah, asking yourself tough questions, and that's a good thing in my opinion. You know, the more that you dive deeper into the self, the more you can understand about the world around you. So definitely it was probably a month of growth, even though it might not have felt like it. All right, it might have felt painful, but it was a growing period is the feeling I'm getting for July. As we move into the present moment, this card represents the current energies. We've got the Page of Pentacles. I'm getting several feelings here. One is the past, looking back at the past. Maybe looking back at the past month. Maybe you're slowly coming out of that introspective phase and you're starting to kind of analyze it. But I'm also getting the feeling of groundedness. You know, pentacles are about the earth and about physical things. So I guess when you combine those two things, maybe you're thinking about the lessons that you learned in July, how to ground them into reality, and how to incorporate them into your life is kind of the feeling I'm getting from this card. Whatever lessons you learned, whatever information you gleaned from your inner self in the last month, I get the feeling that right now you're trying to integrate that and trying to figure out how that really applies to your life and how you can move forward with that. And so maybe a little bit of confusion, sort of, is kind of what I'm getting. Confusion a little bit. So it seems like a confusing time for a lot of Leos, possibly. Especially now that we go into the next month. This represents the month of August, the predominant energy. We've got the Hermit. And it's more of the same, really. It's more introspection. It's more isolation. It's more self-understanding and self-discovery. I think a lot of you are going to spend a lot of time either in meditation or in meditative states, just trying to figure out what is going on with your life and where you are, where you want to go, and who you want to be. So I wouldn't expect this period of introspection to end anytime soon. In fact, August seems like maybe you might even delve further into it. But this is a good thing. Like I said earlier, this is a great thing because it helps you learn who you are. And the more you know about yourself, the more you can tackle this thing we call life, because you're going to have a better understanding of what you want and where you're coming from and where you're going. So I think that this introspection is a good thing for you. And we'll look at the other cards and see what they have to say. This card here represents what you should hold on to for the month of August. And we've got the King of Swords. Give me one moment with this card. Okay, this card is saying that you should be in charge of your ego mind. What I mean by that is a lot of us are unconscious, and a lot of us will just think our thoughts without wondering where they're coming from or what they're doing or the impact they have on our lives. They'll just think their thoughts, and that's who they are. This card is saying to be in charge of your thoughts. And what I mean by that is to really be aware of what thoughts you're having, where they're coming from, why you're thinking them, and then analyze those thoughts and see which ones aren't serving you, which ones aren't helping you, and which ones are. And try to, keep the latter, but remove the former. Remove the thoughts that aren't working for you and amplify the thoughts that are. So being in charge of your thoughts is about being conscious of what you are thinking and, understanding where these thoughts are coming from. And just being conscious about controlling them. And you can control these thoughts. It may take practice and repetition, but eventually you can change your thought patterns, and you will notice your exterior reality start to change along with them. They're going to mirror each other, definitely. All right. This card here represents your biggest obstacles, your biggest hurdles in the month of August. We've got the Knight of Swords, another sword energy. And from this, I'm getting an obstacle is going to be that very same ego mind that I just talked about, that those thoughts that you have. A lot of you may find yourselves acting impulsively based on them. If you don't do this, if you're not cognizant, if you're not aware of the thoughts you're having, a lot of people have the tendency to act, and they'll act based on these thoughts, and it's a very unconscious act because you're not using all your faculties. You're not using your intuition. You're not using your emotions. You're just using the logic ego mind. And a lot of times that's going to get you into deep trouble because you haven't seen the situation from the greater vantage point. You've only seen the situation just from one perspective, the ego mind that's trying to self-survive, that's trying to dominate others. And so I get the feeling here that in August you may say some things or even act on some things that you're thinking that are going to get you into hot water. And I really want you guys, if you can, to be more aware of what you're thinking and how your actions are reflecting your thoughts. Don't just do something because you think it's a good idea. Consult your hearts, consult your intuition, and make well-rounded decisions before you jump into anything. I think that's a good thing to keep in mind this month. This card here, another court card, represents what to let go of in the month of August. We've got the Knight of Rods. And again, I'm getting the sense, the feeling of impulsiveness. Definitely, these cards are kind of linked in my opinion. Don't make any drastic moves just based on your ego mind. I know I'm sounding repetitive, but there's a definite theme going on in this reading. And it's about thinking before you act, but also feeling before you act, and sensing before you act, and making well-rounded decisions. I can't stress that enough for you guys this month. There seems to be a definite theme going on here that you don't want to act rashly. Don't make any rash decisions this month. I get the feeling that you guys are having sort of not a meltdown, but you're having like and not a crisis. What's a lesser form of those things? But you guys are having issues with the self, and you're really self-exploring. And maybe this could cause you to act rashly. And this card is saying this month, be very aware of what you're saying and what you're doing, so that you're not harming others, but especially not harming yourself. And be very aware that there's no self-harm coming from your actions, because it could be very easy to do that when you're in a place of confusion, like many of you possibly are in right now. Okay. This card here represents the energies of the people around you in your life for the month of August. This card represents the overall energies of all the people in your life. Of course, the individuals in your life are going to have different energies, but for the most part, we're going to see some Nine of Swords energy from the people in your life. And the Nine of Swords is not the prettiest card. Again, we're talking about the ego mind, and again, we're talking about negative ego thoughts. And these negative ego thoughts are ones that they kind of enslave us, and they kind of control us. And I think a lot of the people in your life are going to be feeding you ego stuff, and it's going to just make your tough situation even worse. So a lot of you have been feeling a little bit of loneliness and isolation. I think that's a good thing. I think the people in your life are going to be a wee bit toxic for you right now. Right now, when you need to be consulting your intuition and your emotions rather than just your mind. I think the people in your life are going to be very heavily mind-based, and they're going to be kind of feeding you some like negative ego stuff. So be very protective of your energy this month. I'm not saying don't hang out with people, but be aware if they're sucking your energy. Be aware if they're trying to bring you down to their level. And don't get caught up in any ego battles. Don't allow their ego thoughts to influence you. That's one way that people can suck your energy, is they'll tell you something about yourself even, and you'll start to believe it. And then that just gives them power over you. So don't give away your energy if you can't avoid it. Okay, guys? And all right, so this card here represents the biggest lesson you're likely to learn in the month of August, and we have, oh man, the Hanged Man. We've got 3 major arcana here about kind of going inside and figuring stuff out and being patient. And I think the theme of this month is going to be patience. I don't see a lot of advancements in your careers this month, guys. I don't see a lot of advancements in your relationships. I see a lot of quiet introspection, meditation, self-analyzation coming from you guys. And I think that's a good thing. I think there's some soul searching that needs to be done right now. And I think a lot of you are in the midst of it. And I think that's going to continue in the month of August, because it's hard to say. It's going to be a time for patience. It's a time for healing. It's a time for self-discovery. It's not a time for big forward motions, which is why these cards are kind of suggesting that you be very aware of what you're doing, so that you're not making any big sudden movements, right? You're not making any huge decisions this month, because you got to figure things out internally, guys, before you can make those decisions. You got to figure out how to be well-rounded, be well-balanced in your decision-making process, so you're using all your faculties. So now that we've seen the whole of it, definitely you guys have to be very calm this month. This is a month for taking deep breaths and letting them out. If you don't have a meditative practice, I would highly recommend it. It's going to help you get through this month a lot easier. It's as simple as 10 minutes a day right before you go to bed. That's how I started, and it's been the greatest practice that I practice on a daily basis by far. So if you're not a meditative person, I would try to suggest maybe starting a meditative practice. If you are a meditative person, really focus maybe on the shadow side this month. Focus on you and your wants and your desires, and so that the new moon's in Leo too, so I think that has a lot to do with this energy that you guys are probably going to be feeling this month. And I don't know. It doesn't seem too chaotic, though. It seems very chilled out energy for you guys. Be sure that you're very aware, very cognizant of the thoughts you're thinking and what they're doing and what the impact they're having on your life. Don't make any rash decisions based on your ego mind. In fact, don't make any big sudden movements or motions, or like for instance, don't buy a house this month. This is not the time for that. This is not the time for big purchases or big like career moves or anything like that. I think this month you need to focus on you, because you're the most important part of this month. You're the central figure this month for yourself, right? That doesn't make sense. Anyway, the people around you, protect your energy from them. I have a feeling they're gonna kind of share their negative ego thoughts with you a little bit, and that's not gonna be good for you. And just be patient. Nothing has to happen. There's no time limits. Get yourself situated, get organized, and then you can start to make more well-rounded decisions and start to move your life in the forward direction. But this month is a time for patience and perseverance and self-discovery. Alright, so let's take a look at the Keepers of the Light Oracle. We asked it what spiritual message it had for Leos in the month of August, and we've got Master Jesus, Master Jesus, forgiveness. You are on the path of light, love, and forgiveness. Father, healing is possible at this time. And I guess one of Jesus's most prominent teachings was self-forgiveness. We all make mistakes. We are all born into sin. Just thinking about Jesus in the most non-religious terms possible, just as a man with a message. He was teaching us that, we are all, there's a lot of sins and negative energy, dark energy on this planet, and we need to forgive ourselves for all our transgressions, because a lot of the things are beyond our control. Our society has programmed us to think in certain ways that are damaging, and it takes a lifetime of practice and effort and focus in order to break the shackles of that programming. And so as you go through this month in August, just forgive yourself for everything. You're doing the best you can, and just by the fact that you're watching this video, you're showing that you want to improve, you want to get better and grow as a person, and that will happen this month. But just take your time, be patient, and forgive yourself for everything. You're doing just fine. You're doing great, in fact, and always remember that, okay? Alright, so that is the reading for this month. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Remember, if you want a more specific reading tailored just for you, head on over to my Etsy shop. I'll put the link in the description and in the card, so you can click on that button and head over there and check out what kind of readings I can offer over there to solve any of your problems. If you like this video, please consider giving it a like. It lets me know that I did something well, and I would appreciate that. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave those in the comment section below so that I can hear what you have to say about things. If you really enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, because I release these videos pretty regularly. Alright guys, I really appreciate you tuning in. Leave a like if you enjoyed this. Happy tarotting. Peace.